What's going on? Today I'm going to show you how I made this Dark RNB beat. So I started off this beat by getting a piano from a plugin called Elite Pianist. This is a really good cheap plugin from Angelic Vibes, another little producer group on YouTube. And I just used this patch right here. And so I just started by laying down some chords. And this is in D minor, and I don't know too much about theory, so I kind of just play by ear. And I just built some chords that I think sounded good. This is what they sound like. So what I did here is these notes were originally up here. But I just transposed them down with Control down arrow and then made them sound a little darker. I also added bass notes. This also just kind of makes your sounds and piano sound a little more full. And then I added this little chord in here. And it's a lot higher pitched than the rest of them, but it builds a little bit of energy going into the next section 4-bar loop. So I really like that piano sound, but I wanted to throw a bunch of effects on it and see if I could turn it into something cool, and this is what it turned into. I just messed with choruses, delays, Destructor is a cool plugin, Stock FL, and just mess with the presets they have and you'll end up finding a cool sound. And I threw a decent amount of reverb on it. And obviously that sound wouldn't work on its own, so I layered that with an Omnisphere patch. And this is just a saw sound. So this is what it sounds like. This is the preset right here. And using kind of analog sounds in these R&B beats kind of gives it a warmer feeling, but it also doesn't make the track feel too poppy. And if it does sound a little bright, you could throw effects on it like I did. This is what the sound originally sounded like. Kind of brighter, so I threw filtering. Again, I used the PartyNextDoor preset, one of my favorite things to give something a darker sound like almost instantly. And I just messed with the cutoffs, and this is what it turned into. And then I also layered that with another sort of piano sound. From Elite Pianist, or Iota Mini, and this is also by Angelic Vibes, a really cheap, or a free plugin actually, and I really recommend it. It's their Magical Bell, and this is what that patch sounds like. Just something really spacey as well. And I did write a top line melody, and I only had it on the last 4 bars of the 8-bar loop. And I also made the melody kind of trickle down. This gives it a darker feeling and kind of returns it back to the original chord that it hits on. And also I like to mess with strumming. Just this little effect you hear. It just kind of, you know, makes it feel like a real person may have played this melody. So altogether, that's what I originally had. This is what those instruments sound like together. And this sounded really cool, but I knew I wanted to fill it up more, so I rendered out that retro synth pad, and I just reversed it, and then it kind of built up. As you can hear, it adds like a little riser every other 2 bars. And then I also did this and I layered it with an open hat. And then I went on Splice, and I found just some vocal chops, and then I cut them up, and then I added a volume fade. And I think creating stuff that fades in on these tracks really kind of builds an energy, kind of pushes the track forward. Just something really spacey. Again, cover your sounds in a lot of reverb and filtering, but you also don't want to overdo it. You have to do it tastefully. So overall, that built a really nice atmosphere. But I knew it was missing just a little bit, especially for the hook. So what I did is I found an ARP in Omnisphere and layered it. It's really subtle, but this is what it sounds like. And it only plays every once in a while on certain chords. And that just also kind of adds a little ear candy and interest to the beat. And I also found a vocal chop from Arcade and just layered it. It's from the Vocode Pack Tainted preset. And then the hook was still a little empty, so I found a really cool chop from Arcade. It's like a guitar type sound. This is what it sounds like. And it's from the 80s pack Flight or Flight preset. And then all together, I knew I had a really good atmosphere for the overall chorus melody. So then I moved on to the drums, and I knew I wanted to do something bouncy. So I started with some hi-hats. This is the pattern I laid down. I would really recommend messing around with triplet steps. If you don't know how to do that, go on this magnet up here and mess with the 1/3, 1/6 steps, and that can really create a nice bounce. So when you do a hi-hat pattern like that with a lot of rolls and pauses, I always like to fill it up with just a simple 2-step hi-hat so it doesn't feel so open. And it layers really nicely. And then a very simple snare pattern. And then some little just snares in between just to kind of build a bounce. Nothing crazy. Again, very simple kick pattern. My belief with kicks is less is more. Space them out as much as possible. It really kind of makes the kicks that hit stand out, and it just propels the track. Then I also mess with an open hat. This is what the open hat sounds like. It's interesting to do open hats like this. I made it bouncy, and I almost treat an open hats like 808s sometimes. So what I did is I pulled it up and then messed with the envelope, turn it into a brick, and that way it allows you to hold how long the hat stays. So you can do really quick ones or really long ones. So that's a cool tip to kind of give you more bounce. And overall, that's really the only drums that I laid down. Very simple. This is what they sound like. So that was a little empty, so I went on Splice and looked for like a perk fill type loop, and I found one, and this is what those sound like together. Just really nice in the background there. So I also added the sub bass. I just follow the root notes of my chords, and I try not to deviate from that too much. You can, but make sure it still sounds good. And it also kind of slides from note to note at times, and that's a cool effect. Try not to overdo it, but if you do it right, it can be done very tastefully. So this is what the sub bass sounds like. With the rest of the drums. And yeah, that's really it. So this is what the whole beat sounds like together. So yeah, overall, when you're making these dark R&B beats, you want to really just kind of use spacey sounds, don't go overdo the melody, and kind of let the drums groove. You want a nice bounce to them. You don't want them to be too crazy, but you also can't have them just be a very simple, like 2-step hi-hat, clap, kick. It has to have a bounce to it. That kind of fills up the space that the melody leaves, and then realistically, you want an artist to come on here and really fill up the higher end. That's why you'll use a lot of filtering to kind of cut out a a lot of top end in the melodies, so your artist has a lot of room to do some vocals. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this, and thank you for watching.